Everyone knows if you want tight bass, impactful bass, powerful bass, textured bass, you need really good bass drivers, aka good subwoofers. But is there more to it than that? So my latest open baffle speakers using the Lii-song Silver 10 drivers have now replaced my old ones, which were made with the F15s. You can check out my playlist that catalogs all of my journey and steps to get to where I am now. So these Silver 10 drivers in these baffles, normally the Silver 10s really need an enclosure or a cabinet because they only have a QTS factor of 0.3 or so ish. They need that cabinet to help them dig lower. But I'm such a fan of open baffles, I didn't want to go down the cabinet route. Also, I don't know that I'm that good at woodworking yet to be able to make a proper cabinet. Anyway, so I decided, how could I give them somewhat of an enclosure, but still keep an open baffle effect? Well, I tried just using a cylinder behind the baffle, and this cylinder is actually allowing the Silver 10s. They don't play as low as they do in a cabinet. In a cabinet, they can go down like they're like under 30 hertz. Like it's pretty good where they can get to. But as opposed to playing only down to like 250 hertz or 300 hertz, like I've heard them in other open baffle setups, like the Leonidas Extremes, as an example, I wanted them to go a little bit lower. With the cylinder, I got them to play down between 100 and 125 hertz. So now I get to actually set my Crown XLS amplifiers low pass for my bass drivers, which are the W15 by Lii-song, set to 30 hertz to 125 hertz. And it's fantastic. Did I achieve what I was hoping to achieve with the Silver 10s in an open baffle? On their own, same design as I had before with the F15. Meaning, in terms of room placement, they're not sharing the same space as the bass drivers. The bass drivers are still in the back corners using my room walls as bass horns. And the Silver 10 now, which are on an angled up firing, similar to my Ladybug design that I had done thanks to Steve Decker's design. I think he calls them the Omni baffles. You can check out on Decware. He actually sells these speakers now. Anybody can buy them. That configuration of up firing gave such an amazing soundstage. Well, I get that amazing soundstage now with the Silver 10s. What I had to change though is I had to change the angle. The Ladybugs were at roughly a 39-degree, 40-degree angle. But I think because the off-axis response is somewhat different on the Silver 10s compared to the Fast 8 that I was using before, I found that by increasing the angle a little bit up to around 50 degrees with the Silver 10 was my sweet spot. Having them front-facing sounds ultra clear, ultra resolution the way the Silver 10s do it. It's not what I'm after. I don't want that ultra high resolution, that ridiculous transparency. I don't want that because I find that ridiculous transparency also makes certain bad recordings unlistenable. So I wanted to listen to these with a slight off axis, hence bringing them down on a 50-degree angle so they're kind of firing up. So they're not as sharp, they're not as crisp, but they're still very crisp. Don't get me wrong, they're very crisp. It's just a little insane, I find, when the Silver 10 is completely front firing and angled at your ears. I like it if they're in a cabinet, but in an open baffle setting, I find them a little too intense in terms of that top end and air. So the soundstage is great, as the Ladybugs were. Even better actually with the Silver 10s in it. Honestly, because that extra resolution the Silver 10s do bring compared to the Fast 8, the three-dimensionality feels even better to me. It feels like there's even more presence in the instruments and the soundstage. And sure, the air, as expected, the resolution, the textures in the mids, the overall speed of the presentation is better. It's noticeably better than when I had the F15s. What I wasn't expecting, and comes as a great surprise and also learning experience for myself, is the bass has tightened. It's even tighter than before. It's faster than before, punchier than before. It feels like it's more powerful. I feel it in my chest more than I do when I plug the F15s back in. And no, this is not some psycho effect. I've been going back and forth with the F15s. It doesn't thump my chest as hard as the Silver 10s. But the Silver 10s only play down around the 115, 125 hertz mark right now with the way I have them configured. When that thump in your chest, that impact all come from the W15 drivers that I haven't changed. They're exactly as they were. Same with the amplifier. Okay, they play 25 hertz higher than they used to. That's not it. So I did a little bit of digging. So a bass note, any instrument that generates a bass note, it's not just about the low end thump. A bass note is actually full of harmonics. Harmonics that are in the mids and in the highs as well. That's what the package of a bass note is made of. Sure, like most of the presence is in the lower frequency. But those low frequencies on their own don't seem to produce that effect that makes me think of it as tight or even punchy in my chest. And obviously the opposite is definitely true. If you remove the low frequencies, if I turn off my bass drivers and only play the mids and the highs, well, it's not going to sound as big. It's not going to sound as heavy. It's not going to have that oomph, that weight. But check this out. Three clips here. First clip, just the Silver 10s playing. I'm going to turn off my W15 drivers. Listen to this. Now, I'm going to play only the bass drivers. Now let's listen to what it sounds like with both of them. Stupid sound clips. If you have headphones on, you might get a little bit of a sense of what I'm trying to convey. So the W15s on their own don't sound snappy, don't sound punchy. They just sound big and thumpy, but can't say it sounds fast. Can't say it sounds, I don't feel it in my chest. I feel it in the room, but I don't feel it in my chest. So how come I feel it in my chest with the Silver 10, more with the Silver 10s than I do with the F15s? What's the difference? Why does the Silver 10 make the overall performance feel tighter and stronger if they're not playing bass notes as much as the W15s are? So it seems that clarity in the sound, which the Silver 10s do better than the F15s do, is providing a better highlight of transients. And these transients in the mids and the highs are those elements that give that quickness, that sharpness, those snappy elements in the performance of the sound that defines what people would call the attack. So that's what got better with the Silver 10, is my attack in the room now sounds better. So when you feel that drum, that snare, even like an electric guitar, or even the pluck of a string, the pluck of a string on a guitar, it's all better. It's far more realistic. It grabs your attention more, and it's foot tap. Now the awesomeness doesn't stop there with these speakers. Now, because I've found out that in my room, and maybe this is the case too, like with almost any speaker, when you play with toe in, right? You're playing with the off axis. You're playing with the off axis versus on axis sound of what you're hearing in your room until you get it to what you like. But the same is also said when you play with the angle of the up firing versus front firing. You're also playing with off axis, because off axis is not just left to right, it's also up and down. So the fact that I'm playing now, not just on toe in left and right, but I'm playing, they do have a slight toe in, but they're also angled up firing. That combined with a better attack, the genres that I thought were not on the same level as the magic of jazz or blues or acoustic instruments with the F-15s now have significantly improved. I can listen to metal. I can listen to heavy rock, to classic rock, even old bad recordings of classic rock. And I have that attack, I have that resolution, I have that soundstage, I have that three-dimensional effect. Yeah. I asked Thomas's opinion. Thomas was over. I didn't have the cameras on. We were trying a bunch of his prototype amplifiers. We were trying also his pre-amplifier for Galeon. Just he wanted my opinion. So after we were done diving into all that, of course, I asked his opinion on these speakers. He said it's better than the F-15. Thomas, please confirm in the comments if you watch this video that I'm not lying. You said you wish everyone could experience this. That's cool. That's cool. It confirms that I'm not going crazy or I'm stuck in my own bubble. Yeah.
Hey, man.
Oh, I forgot you were here.
Yeah, man. What the hell? I've been sitting here for like 3 hours, man. Like, I'm almost done.
3 hours?
Man,
seriously?
It's been painful watching you stumble while reading your own notes, man. Trying to be like a YouTube nerd and shit.
Right. What's up?
We were supposed to talk about those other YouTubers, man.
What other YouTubers?
OCD Mikey.
Yeah, what about Mikey?
Yes, I would certainly describe him as calm and gentle.
Gentle? Who the hell is that?
A hi-fi critic.
Isn't that what you're trying to be, man?
Shut up.
Fine, whatever, man, whatever. So what about that guy who steals from the hi-fi rich and gives to the poor kids, man?
That sounds like Robin Hood.
No, man. ABX, Audiophile.
Ah, James.
Yeah, man.
How do you know the children are actually poor?
No one asked you, man.
Actually, I was the one asking you.
Look, man, the guy donates to charities for kids. Why you gotta go there? Why'd you invite this guy?
Well, I was hoping that
I'm actually here to make sure you two morons don't actually get us sued. And mostly, I'm curious to know the truth. For instance, what you really thought of Dave Listens to Hi-Fi's rig.
What do you mean? I told the truth in the video. His system sounds amazing.
I think personally you should do a follow-up video. Perhaps a second listen. Now that, well, you know.
Know what?
It means now that you're not fat anymore, man.
How perceptive, my drunken friend.
What does my weight have to do with the sound of his system?
Less fat in your ears.
Yes, but those Carver speakers really are quite the proposition for the price these days.
Don't do it, man. I don't think your cryotones can actually drive speakers like that, man. Those speakers need solid state juice, man.
Yeah, it's tempting, but those speakers are amazing. And I could snatch those up for like under 1,500 right now. But that means that I'd be going back down the rabbit hole of amplifiers to find that proper synergy again.
Check this guy out.
Oh, yeah, man, I love this guy. It's like a new standard for YouTube hi-fi.
Yes, the production of his musical performances are probably enjoyed by the more, shall we say, youthful audiophiles. Those that I would say between the ages of 40 and 58.
Man, that guy never has any negative comments on his videos.
You actually read this rubbish?
What? Speak English, man.
You actually read comments on YouTube videos?
Yeah, man. There could be engineers that are writing comments there, man. We need these guys to let us know whether we should listen to this video or not.
Yes. Why not?
Are you making fun of me, man? At least this shit sounds amazing.